heard the fable about the lion and the mouse? It's probably the first aid story in recorded history. Basically, this big scary lion gets a thorn stuck in his paw, and he's in misery because he can't remove it. Then along comes a little mouse, and instead of getting eaten by a lion, he removes the thorn on the lion's paw, and they become best buds. My fellow Cat Scouts, that's the power of first aid. This is Scout Dirk, Troop 1, SEALs Patrol, and welcome to first aid training. The first aid merit badge is a requirement to advance to the rank of Cougar. The knowledge and skills you learn by earning this merit badge are vitally important because you may need them to save a life, or at least reduce a fellow Cat Scout's pain and discomfort. First aid is the assistance you give to any cat suffering a sudden illness or injury, with care provided to preserve life, prevent the condition from worsening, or to promote recovery. It includes initial intervention in a serious condition prior to professional medical help being available, such as performing CPR while awaiting an ambulance, as well as the complete treatment of minor conditions such as applying a bandage to a cut. Now, chances are you already know how to lick a wound, and you may even be familiar with the cone of shame if you or one of your family members has received veterinary treatment for something that really should not be licked or scratched until it's had a chance to heal. But in real life, whether out on a hike in the wilderness or at home playing in the living room, sooner or later someone's going to have an accident or get sick or get hit by a tornado or maybe get in a traffic accident. Which reminds me of a story. Many years ago, a school bus skidded off the road, split in half, and burst into flames. The driver was seriously injured, and his blood and brains were spurting out all over the windshield like a plate of spaghetti. Fortunately, a Cat Scout was on board. He quickly took command. He turned off the engine, got the emergency door opened, helped get the injured children out, bandaged up the driver, and put his brains back in his head and stayed with him till help arrived. When authorities arrived on the scene, they asked the young Cat Scout, "How did you manage to save the driver and all those children from perishing in a blazing inferno?" "Well," said the Cat Scout, "the first time I ever rode a bus, I asked myself, what would you do if you ever had an accident? I looked around, noticed how the driver operated the motor, read the instructions for opening the emergency door, and then I used my Cat Scout first aid training." So, be prepared. Learn your first aid skills. A Cat Scout trained in first aid knows what to do when a medical emergency strikes. Number 1, keep calm. Remember, you are trained, and part of your training is to be in control of yourself, despite the fact that you may be facing a rather unpleasant situation. Running around and caterwauling in panic will not help things. Assess the scene. Whatever has happened, is there still a threat to the health and safety of either yourself or the victim? If so, deal with that first. Turn off the electricity, chase away the dog, put out the fire, lift the car off the victim, take the jumbo bucket of cat treats from the victim's paws, or do whatever is necessary to eliminate an immediate and ongoing risk of further injury. Third, once the scene is stabilized, assess the victim's situation. To do this, perform a CAT scan, where you look the victim up and down and determine what the first priority should be. Is the victim conscious? Can they talk? If so, ask them what's wrong and where it hurts, if it's not obvious. If they're unconscious, or if conscious and they can't talk, you must assess the victim's condition using the ABCs of first aid. A stands for airway. Are they breathing? And is their airway blocked? If so, get ready for some unfun. Otherwise, proceed to B. B stands for bleeding. See any red stuff? If so, you'll need to resist the temptation to run and hide and try to stop it. No bleeding? Proceed to C, which stands for cardiac function. Is their heart beating? Yes? Yay. No? Uh-oh. This requires intervention. For airway problems, first pry open the victim's mouth to see if there's anything blocking it. Is there a rat or a snake? Pull it out. Some more. Same thing. Yank it out. Once the blockage is fixed, hope that breathing resumes. If not, you're going to have to help the victim get their breathing started by blowing your own air into their mouth. Like a kiss, but more involved. Take a deep breath through your nose. Pucker up, give them a wet one, and blow like you're blowing up a party balloon. Feel air going in? Good. Otherwise, there's still a blockage to be fished out. Once you've got any blockage cleared, resume blowing about once every 3 seconds. The victim might come around, if you're lucky, without puking. In that case, get them immediately to a vet. Now, bleeding, that calls for direct pressure. Put your paws on the wound. Apply firm pressure for a few minutes. This should help control the bleeding, and eventually it will stop, and you can then pull out a band-aid or a gauze pad or some tape from your first aid kit, if available, and dress the wound. If you don't have a first aid kit handy, use your Cat Scout uniform neckerchief, or pull the handkerchief from your pocket, if it's clean, and use that. Wrap it around the affected limb and tie it off using an overpaw knot. Get the victim to the vet as soon as possible. Okay, now, cardiac function. If no function, no fun. Help the victim get their heart started again. If possible, lay the victim on their right side. Feel for heartbeat, or femoral pulse. The femoral pulse is located inside the leg in the groin region. Bend the foreleg and note the location of where the elbow touches the chest. This is close to the middle of the rib cage. Use one of your paws to compress the chest 3 to 5 times, followed by 2 rescue breaths. This should be about 3 compressions every 2 seconds. Try to compress the chest wall at least 30%. This is 1 inch to a ½ inch in the average camp. Here's a demonstration of CPR. Now, these are actors. Phew, I hope you never have to do any of those things. But now you're prepared, just in case. After you take care of the ABCs of first aid, if none of those apply, proceed to other possible first aid needs of your victim, which could include any of these common situations. Burns. Cool the burned area with cold water as quickly as possible. Cover the burned area with damp towels. If the injury is due to a caustic substance, rinse with cold water for 15 minutes and contact your vet for further advice. Victims that have been exposed to heat or smoke from a fire should be offered water as soon as the situation is stable. Okay, how about electric shock? Well, kittens are most likely to chew on or bite an electric cord because a dangling cord is seen as a perfect plaything. Many incidents happen around the holidays. Biting through an electric cord can cause, at the very least, a painful electrical burn on the mouth and tongue. These often become infected and require vet care. Severely shocked cats may go into cardiac arrest or develop pulmonary edema, or fluid accumulation in the lungs. Kittens that chew through electric cords should be taken to the vet immediately, even if it only appears to have minor burns on the tongue or mouth. What about choking? Well, if the victim has something stuck in their mouth or throat, they will cough or gasp suddenly. The victim could become frantic because they're scared, so have someone else hold them while you try to look in the back of the throat. If an object is seen, try to spot it with a flashlight, then remove it with tweezers or a spoon handle. Your paws may be too big if the victim is a kitten. Stings. When cats are stung by a hurdy fly, the most telltale symptoms include swelling and tenderness at the location of the sting. Usually these symptoms appear on the face due to a curious cat moving in on a hurdy fly for a closer inspection. A sting may also occur on the paws as a result of swatting a hurdy fly or even accidentally stepping on one. Now, as soon as you notice the symptoms and you're able to identify where the hurdy fly sting is located, it's time to spring into quick action by following these steps. First, try to scrape the stinger out with your mom or dad's credit card or a similar object. Don't try to pull the stinger out with your paws or a tweezer, as you risk breaking the venom sac and causing even more of the poison to go right into the victim's body. And then apply a cold, wet washcloth to the area of the sting to help soothe it and reduce the swelling. Then call the vet for further care. What about broken bones? Well, these can occur when cats or kittens take unwise jumps. The initial sign of a possible fracture is limping, holding the injured leg up, or walking on only 3 legs. Or they might just tell you, hey, I think I broke my leg. Now, simple fractures, where both ends of the bone remain under the skin, are not as bad as those in which the bone breaks through the skin. That's an open fracture. Now, these open fractures are at high risk of becoming infected. So if you suspect that, try to apply a temporary splint to immobilize the leg. A pencil, tongue depressor, or maybe a piece of heavy cardboard can work. To effectively immobilize the leg, the splint must span the joint above and below the fracture. For example, a forearm fracture, the splint must immobilize the limb from the elbow, the joint above, to the wrist, the joint below. Wrap strips of clean cloth or gauze around the leg and the splint so that the leg can't bend. Don't try to manipulate the bones back into place, and don't wash out open fractures. If the victim becomes too stressed during the splint application, stop it and just take it to the vet immediately. What about poisoning? Well, that can happen because a cat or a kitten is attracted to something interesting that's actually bad for them to eat. So that could include cleaning products, medicines, gardening products, poisonous plants, all kinds of things. Signs of poisoning depend on the type of poison and the amount ingested. And that could include excessive salivation, vomiting, and loss of consciousness, even seizures. If you can identify what the toxic substance was that they ate or drank, read the label to see if there are specific instructions for treatment, then follow them. If not, induce vomiting using syrup of ipecac or hydrogen peroxide, 1 teaspoon per 5 pounds of body weight. Don't induce vomiting if a strong acid or alkali or a petroleum product like kerosene was ingested. And of course, get the victim to the vet as soon as possible. Eye injuries. These happen all the time, and they can be very painful and can threaten the eyesight. If a foreign body like grass, hair, a piece of claw can be seen in the eye, it may be possible to remove it by gently rinsing the eye with eye wash or contact lens saline solution. Don't allow the victim to scratch or rub the eye. Seek veterinary help as soon as possible. Here are some signs that say go to the vet now. The victim's non-responsive, or they have labored breathing. Maybe they're drooling profusely, or incessant vomiting, profuse diarrhea, abnormal coloration of the gums, fever. All those are signs that say go to the vet now. Once you have the victim stabilized as best you can, if their injury or illness is serious, you'll need to get them to the vet, and they may need help. Use the emergency coins you always keep with you to dial for emergency assistance at the nearest payphone. If there's no payphone within easy reach, you'll need to transport the victim to a medical facility. Here are some of the common ways you can safely move an injured cat. There's the single cat carry technique, the double cat carry, the single cat drag technique, and the makeshift stretcher. My personal favorite is this one. If you're good with rope and have quite a bit on hand, as well as a few carabiners, and you're transporting a victim off a cliff face by helicopter, you can put together one of these babies. Okay, cats, let's review. Whether your victim is a lion with a thorn in their paw or a kitten that needs a whole jar of cat treats pumped out of their stomach, you must be ready at all times to provide first aid. Remember, number 1, first assess the scene and eliminate ongoing threats. Number 2, perform a CAT scan of the victim to determine your priorities for first aid treatment. Airway, bleeding, cardiac function. Take care of those issues first, then proceed to others. Once the victim's stable, get them to a proper veterinary facility as soon as possible, either by calling for medical assistance or transporting them yourself if necessary. Practice these skills as part of your earning your first aid merit badge. With that badge on your merit badge sash, you'll have the confidence to help a victim in need whenever the occasion arises, and maybe get your picture in the newspaper. Not that that matters, of course, but it's cool when it happens. Oh, one other thing. What do you call 2 cats in an ambulance? Paramedics. Ha, that's a first aid joke. This is Dirk, Troop 1, SEALs Patrol, saying, be prepared. Hey Cat Scouts, Skizix here. I hope you liked that training. Now it's time to log into your account at catscouts.com to review and perform any remaining tasks you need to do to earn this merit badge, including passing the exam. Or did you just watch this video for fun or something? Maybe you're not even a member. Then you might want to go over to catscouts.com and join, because it's really fun and you can make friends and go camping and tie knots and stuff. See you over there.